Hi, I'm Jason from Malott Consulting. While helping another tape partner, I was asked, how do we know if something breaks? And the truth is, while tape does support sending automation errors to a webhook, getting that set up and then making sense of the errors isn't always easy. And that's exactly why I built TapeAlert. In this video, I'll give you a quick walkthrough of what TapeAlert does, how it works, and how it can help you stop missing important automation failures. Let's take a look. So when you first land on the page, you'll be asked for your email address. Before we take it a bit further, let's cover off these little question marks. When you add click on a question mark, it brings up a pop-up box that tries to explain what you're looking at. And normally there's a link to the full documentation from there. Now, in addition, when you first log on, before you've set up an account, it will be slightly different to what you see now. It will just talk you through setting up an account. I think it asks you something like 2 questions, and then it will send you the OTP to your email that you've used. We add an email, then click process. So we use OTPs for logon. That will send an email to you with the OTP. So if you just copy them out of your email, paste it in, and then click verify, that will log you in. So once you're there, yours will be empty. You add an organization. Now we need your API key for tape here. It is worth noting that once you've set up all of your web hooks, you can remove that API key by cycling it in tape. So you just go and get your API key, drop back in, paste it in, and retrieve organization. The system does a lookup with tape, gets your organization details. When you click continue, you come back to the organizations page where you can now manage your organization. Got no webhooks there, so we'll add a webhook. It gives you a URL. You can click the copy button. You notice that it says waiting for tape to verify. Go back into tape, go into your webhooks and add one, click out, and it will change to active pretty much instantaneously. Now there are 3 different types of webhooks you can set up in tape. So we'll set up each one. When you go back into the system, you can see that the webhook's verified there as well. And we've got in our list now run. So if you copy the next, paste it in, again, click out of the box, and it will do the activation process. So it's all there in the system. Go back to the dashboard, and we'll add one more for the last thing, which is organization throttled. So add a webhook, copy the URL back into tape, choose organization throttled and paste it in, click out, and it'll activate. So when you go back to the dashboard, you've now got 3 webhooks set up, one for each type. We'll start with the throttled one, go into configure. Now this is where you configure where you want the notifications sent. If it's throttled, you're going to want something pretty immediate. So we'll do email notifications and Google Spaces. So we'll start with Google Spaces, paste in your Google Spaces webhook, and that will then encrypt the webhook address and place it down there. You can send a test message. We'll come on to that in a bit. And we'll do email notifications as well. So put in an email address. If you want a subject of something specific, so here we could put throttled for the throttled organization, save the configuration, and then you can see there that it's waiting for email to be verified. We won't send notifications to any email that hasn't been verified. So if you go back into your email, you can see there's an email there asking you to verify the email. We drop back into the system from there, give the page a quick refresh, and you can now see that it's green. You can add multiple email addresses into the same notification. You can also edit them. We send a test message now to the Google Spaces as well. And if we drop back into our Spaces, you can see that the test notification is there. So let's take a look now at setting up an action failed webhook. For that one, we're going to want something slightly different, including a linear issue. So if we configure our action failed, add an email notification first. So add the email address, select tape error as our prefix to our subject. And again, you can see that it's waiting verification. Let's add linear issue now. Now you can see that there's the team box, which doesn't do anything at the moment. If we paste in our linear API key, click the verify, and then that team box comes alive because we've collected the teams from linear. Set an urgency and save the configuration. And now you can see that we've got a linear issue set up. We can create a test issue. Now if we pop into linear, we can see that the test issue is there for us, all ready to go. So now let's try and create a real one. So I'm going to use this new tape form. I'm going to deliberately make the automation fail. So this is no fault of the tape. We've made an automation fail. So we've now got a real linear issue with a link to the workflow. So we can go and see what happened directly from the issue. And you can see that it's failed on a search. Back into our email, and we have the email notification, again with a link at the bottom to the workflow, so that we can easily check what's going on and what's gone wrong. Now back in the system again, you can see that each webhook has a log where you can go in and see the details of the error from the webhook. And if we go back to the main partner dashboard, then you can see there's a log there for all of the webhooks with details and what the status of them is. Jumping into the partner setup management, this is all fairly irrelevant. Most of it's based around me charging a monthly fee for the system, which obviously at the moment I'm not doing. If we drop down to the bottom, then we can open the documentation site from there. Documentation isn't my strongest point, but I've tried to make it as clear as possible. There are gaps, but I don't think they're going to be particularly troublesome for most people. The core quick setup guide is fairly in-depth. You should be able to work through from that. And that's TapeAlert. Hopefully you can see how it takes the hassle out of setting up error notifications and makes sure that you actually alerted when something goes wrong. It's free to use with pay as you want option, so if it saves you time or stress, any support is hugely appreciated. This may change in the future, but I will give you plenty of warning if it does. You can get started at links.jmc.tools/tapealert or use the QR code on the screen, and there's full documentation there if you need it. Thanks for watching, and if you've got any feedback, ideas, or if you'd like help getting started, just give me a shout.